Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm Amy Austin.
And I'm Clay Yeager. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics.
The women's basketball team took their 8-game win streak to the Sun Belt Conference tournament to compete as the number 3 seed. The Trojans took on the University of Louisiana at Lafayette but fell late in the game. Troy lost to the Raging Cajuns 66-52 to snap their win streak and their time at the conference tournament. The Trojans fought close with Lafayette through most of the game, but the last minutes of the second half caused the loss. ULL outshot Troy 38-26 in the second half. Ashley Beverly Kelly was the only Troy player who made it into double digits. She scored 17 points. Courtney Coleman was the next closest with 9. And while the tournament is over, the women's basketball team is still receiving recognition and honors. Junior guard Ashley Beverly Kelly
Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm Amy Austin.
And I'm Clay Yeager. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics.
The women's basketball team took their 8-game win streak to the Sun Belt Conference tournament to compete as the number 3 seed. The Trojans took on the University of Louisiana at Lafayette but fell late in the game. Troy lost to the Raging Cajuns 66-52 to snap their win streak and their time at the conference tournament. The Trojans fought close with Lafayette through most of the game, but the last minutes of the second half caused the loss. ULL outshot Troy 38-26 in the second half. Ashley Beverly Kelly was the only Troy player who made it into double digits. She scored 17 points. Courtney Coleman was the next closest with 9. And while the tournament is over, the women's basketball team is still receiving recognition and honors. Junior guard Ashley Beverly Kelly was named to the Mid-Major All-American third team by College Sports Madness. Beverly Kelly led the Sun Belt in scoring as she averaged 19.7 points per game in league play. Beverly Kelly scored a career-high 46 points in Troy's win against Georgia Southern. This is still the most scored by any Division I player this season.
The softball team took on Appalachian State over the weekend for their first home conference series. Troy took Game 1 9-3 and Game 2 9-1. The Trojans looked to complete the sweep with the win on Sunday, and Troy was able to do just that. Troy defeated Appalachian State 11-2 in only 5 innings. Troy came out scoring early in the bottom of the first and continued to add to their lead by scoring in each inning. Several Trojans stood out at the plate. Ashley Rainey and Kate Benton both went 2 for 2 on the day. Kitty Janilli went 3 for 3, and Hannah Day went 3 for 4 at the plate. This was the first season sweep for the Trojans. Head coach Beth Mullins says that practice paid off.
I thought our team played really well this weekend. I thought we practiced a lot this last week on making a couple of adjustments that we really focused on, and I think they did that, and I think it showed in the results. But really, we just had, like I say, great pitching, good defense, and timely hitting. And when you do that, you give yourself a chance to win, and I thought the girls did a really good job.
Next up, the Trojans will play UL Lafayette in a weekend series.
The baseball team hosted Georgia Southern over the weekend as they looked to snap an 8-game losing streak. The Eagles ran away with Game 1 15-1, but Troy came back to win Game 2 6-1. It all came down to the rubber game on Sunday. The Troy baseball team won its first conference series with the win on Championship Sunday. Troy defeated Georgia Southern 2-1.
The way the two games played out on Saturday, neither team had to get deep in the premium part of their bullpen, so everybody was available for both clubs. And with that being the case, unless somebody rocked the starters, which both starters' numbers didn't appear to say that was going to happen, I felt like it would be a close ball game that would be won or lost on execution.
The game came down to the very last play, but Troy was able to capitalize on their strengths and win the ball game.
I don't know that the runner should have been on first base when that ball was hit, but we sure did execute that play well with Clay Holcomb cutting it off before it got to the wall, throwing a strike to Matt Sanders throwing a strike to Trip Calhoun, who was decoying the runner, so a lot of things went in our favor on the last play to win the game, but an exciting game, an exciting series.
Lucas Brown stood out for the Trojans on the mound. Brown pitched 7 complete innings and only allowed 1 run on 6 hits.
He pitched well. The only mistake that I can remember he made in the game was the 1-2 changeup to a very good 3-hole hitter, Mizell, for them. He hit it out of the park. Other than that, he made some great pitches to get some double play balls. I just thought he did what we needed him to do, and that was continue to keep the momentum on our side.
The baseball team is coming off that series win, and one player is receiving recognition for his performance on the mound. Junior Grant Bennett has been named the Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week and the Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Week. Bennett pitched the Trojans to a 6-1 win against Georgia Southern. He pitched 8 innings and struck out 14 batters. With those 14 strikeouts, Bennett became the first Trojan to strike out that many batters since Mike Felix in 2006. With the selection, this marks the 5th year in a row the Trojans have had a player named the Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week.
The Troy women's golf team completed the 3M Jaguar Intercollegiate in Augusta, Georgia. The Trojans finished in 5th place above 4 different teams that had previously been ranked above them. Fatima Fernandez Cano led the Trojans and also broke a school record. Cano tied for 5th place in the tournament. In Saturday's second round, she shot a 65 that broke a school record. The Trojans' overall score was 886 after scoring a 304 on day 1, a 284 in a round of 2 of the tournament, and a 298 on the final day. Head coach Bart Barnes says he's excited about how well his team is playing.
We capped off that round with a 65, which is also a school record by Fatima Cano. Just a very special day for everybody, for the team, for her individually, for me as a coach. That was kind of the bright spot of the week. Obviously helped propel us to a really strong finish, and really excited about the way we're starting to play.
The Trojans will have a week off before preparing for the John Kirk Lady Panther Classic.
The men's golf team headed to Tallahassee, Florida to compete in the Seminole Intercollegiate at the Southwood Golf Club. The Trojans picked up a 12th place finish in a pool of 17 teams. Sophomore Clayton Vanoy led for the Trojans. Vanoy finished tied for 18th place as he shot 4 under 68 in his final round and sank 6 birdies. The Trojans' overall score was 870. On day 1, Troy scored 289, then scored a 290 in round 2 of the tournament, followed by a 291 in the final round. And head coach Matt Terry said his team was missing their shots.
It was tougher. We went down there with pretty good expectations after playing well at Auburn. We had a day off, basically from tournaments, and we go down there, play a practice round. The guys, we just didn't make putts. We didn't make a lot of putts at Southwood. Hit it pretty good. Played pretty well, thought our course management was good, didn't have very many big numbers. Just didn't hold a lot of birdie putts, and it put us behind the 8 ball. Look, we had 1 week worth of 2 tournaments, finished 2nd, finished 12th, and it's hard to kind of get down on yourself after that because it's just golf.
The Trojans have now had a 2nd place, 7th place, and 12th place finish in the spring season.
The men's tennis team extended their win streak to 5 games with a pair of wins. The Trojans defeated Kennesaw State 4-2. Against Kennesaw State, Troy took 5 of the 6 singles flights. And in doubles play, Hassan Ndishime and Kellon McKinley took the only doubles win at the number 2 spot. And then the Trojans turned around to sweep Alabama State 4-0. Against the Hornets, Troy won number 1 and 2 doubles flights, while the Trojans only won in singles at number 2 and 5 and 6. The Trojans are currently 15-5 overall and 4-0 in conference play.
The women's tennis team lost to ULM, marking their first loss in conference play, and the team was looking to rebound after that loss. The Trojans took on Mercer and were able to gain the win as they defeated Mercer 4-1. In the singles competition, Troy won the top 3 flights. Trang Hyun won at the number 1 spot, while Sine Odo won number 2. Then in doubles play, Troy took the number 1 and number 2 wins. Hyun and Anya Kosovic won the number 1 doubles 8-2. The Trojans are now 7-5 on the season and 1-1 in conference play.
The track and field team completed competition at the Coastal Carolina Invitational. Sydney Wright would be the highlight for the Trojans as she finished first place in the 200-meter dash and new personal record of 24.7 seconds. Wright grabbed her second win for the Trojans this season as a freshman. Freshman Javine Wortham would also finish in the top 10 for the shot put, throwing for 12.07 meters. Karina Cox would finish in second place for discus as she threw for 47.42 meters. Nisha Defoe got third place in long jump as she leaped for a 5.25 meter jump. Next up, the Trojans will compete in Alabama relays in Tuscaloosa. Still to come on Trojan Sports Now, we'll have a preview of the baseball team's next home series.
But first, I had the chance to sit down with softball player Michelle Phelps. Stick around for more Trojan Sports Now.